Welcome to the channel, ladies and gentlemen. Coriander, how's it going?
Not bad. How are you?
Doing pretty good. Here we are on Monday night, so we're doing Slasher Movie Club. Woohoo!
Yeah. Right? Oh,
Right.
shit.
So, so tonight we're doing Schizoid from 1980. Um,
Yeah.
and I had never seen this movie. Had you seen it before?
No, and I'd seen, a few Klaus Kinski movies, and this is one that I missed. Yeah.
Oh, okay, all right. So this was
Yeah.
this was something fresh for both of us. All right, well that's cool. Real quick before we get into everything, let's see who we have in the chat. We've got Goraphobe in the chat saying Angel Donna Wilkes. Yes. ah, ah. Goraphobe. Oh, loving the clip of torso in the intro. Thanks a lot, man.
Mhm.
See, not many people talk about that. That's cool, man. I appreciate you, paying attention to the little things. It's fun. It's fun
Yeah.
stuff for us. All right. Well, look, I'm going to be honest with you. This is a movie that I had never seen. I think I had heard of, but I was basically going into this fresh. So, I mean, that's kind of one of the reasons that we started this slasher movie club is to be reintroduced or introduced for the first time to a lot of these slasher films, especially from back in the day. Um,
Hmm.
what did you think of this film? Let's just jump right into it. Like, what were your initial thoughts of it?
Well, there wasn't much gore to this. It
Yes.
had
Mm-hmm.
maybe some suspenseful moments, a couple. Um,
Mm-hmm.
but I mean, Klaus Kinski is really what kept me watching. It wasn't bad. I mean, it was interesting seeing him play a marriage counselor and not the killer.
Right.
So that was,
Right.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah. I mean, he was definitely playing against type, I would say, and
mm,
I have to agree with you. I mean, he was the charisma, in the movie. I think you had some good moments here and there. Also with some of the other cast. I mean, Mariana Hill, who played Julie, who was basically the victim, the main
the
victim in the movie,
columnist. Yes, yes, she
the
was. Yep.
columnist. She played a pretty good part, and of course, as Gorfo
Mhm.
was mentioning, you had Donna Wilkes, who played Klaus Kinski's
Yeah,
daughter.
daughter, and he kind of had
Yeah,
a creepy moment there, in the beginning,
she had
kind of
some.
peeping
Yes.
at her,
Well,
you know.
yeah, and plus she was pretty damn creepy too, man.
Well,
It was
obviously, yeah, she
it,
was.
it was some. Yeah, it was some creepy vibes going on in there, and I gotta admit, I was
Yeah,
kind of like, well, wait a minute, what's going on here, man? Is this the wrong
right.
movie? Um, Gorophobe says it's not bad. Kinski's insane. Yeah, yeah. I mean, I think if I was to throw my 2 cents in, I would say that's kind of how I looked at it too. It's not bad, and definitely not at the bottom of the list of the movies we've done for Slasher Movie
Right.
Club. And it had some good moments, I will say. And let me know what you're thinking on it, Coriander. I mean, there were some moments where you could definitely see homages to Halloween, and Psycho. There were a couple moments where some of the kills were happening, and you could hear those strings going off, just like in Psycho. And I was just like, and it's funny because you got to be careful when you do those types of things in movies because sometimes
Yeah.
it can come off as genuine and
Hmm.
cool, and then sometimes it can come off as just a poor imitation
Yeah.
and
Like a
a
lot
more
of people,
negative
like,
aspect.
yeah, well, I don't want to say a lot, but some people call this like the American Giallo. You had the killer in a long raincoat and gloves, and I
Right.
mean, it's kind of obviously it's a ripoff of someone who's really good, but I mean, this movie could have been better, if yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, it was okay. It was okay.
Yeah.
Not one of my
Yeah. I
favorite of
mean,
Klaus Kinski's, but I mean, it wasn't bad.
okay. Yeah, yeah. Well, what was interesting to me too, as we get a little bit more into it, and let me just catch up with Goraphobe, who was saying Kinski's he was just a creepy dude, right?
I think it's funny
Right?
how all these chicks wanted to sleep with him too, and it's like, wow, why? Because he is creepy. I didn't, there's
Right.
nothing appealing about him. So yeah, it's kind of funny.
And Goraphobe saying he likes the scissor kill in the garage. Yeah, that was kind of a big moment, that kill. But
Yeah, yep,
what was interesting to me too is that you had a pretty interesting cast. I mean, you had the
yeah.
great
Christopher
Christopher Lloyd,
Lloyd. Yeah,
and he
man.
played he played a kind of a creepy character too.
He
The
did have a
maintenance
creepy
guy.
scene. Yeah, he did.
Yeah, yeah, yep.
And he's
So
pretty
he
young.
played
I
good.
mean, I think this is the youngest I've seen him. So, at least in a
Yeah,
role.
yeah. I think. Yeah, yeah. Well, when he did Taxi, he was pretty young, but in movies, yeah, this is
I
I
guess.
think one of the
You mean
earlier.
like Taxi Driver or the show?
No, the show, because Christopher
Oh
Lloyd was in
yeah. See,
Taxi.
yeah,
Jim
I didn't really
Jim
watch that. So
Jim Ignatowski, but
yeah,
Slasher Fred was saying there's also a film Alice Sweet Alice, which also had a villain in a
yes,
raincoat.
yeah,
Yeah,
I've seen
absolutely.
that.
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah. Um, but you had a pretty good cast. Like I said, you had Christopher Lloyd, and he played Gilbert, who was kind of like a maintenance guy of the building that Julie was at. And of course, like I said, Julie, I mean, she was the main lead in the movie, and she
Yes,
was
she
the
was.
one who was a columnist and had
Yep.
the threats kind of
The
positioned
threatening
to her.
notes. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah. And but there were a lot of elements in this movie too, man, because you had these different characters, and also you had, and it took me a minute to figure it out, but her ex-husband, played by Craig Wasson,
Hmm.
who was Doug. I kept looking at him like I know him from somewhere, and he was most famously, anyways, one of my favorite movies that he was in was Nightmare on Elm Street 3, The Dream Warriors. He
Yeah,
was
the
he was
doctor,
the
the
doctor.
psychiatrist
Yeah.
dude. Yeah.
Yes, yes. And I kept looking at him when I was watching this movie. I'm like, who the hell is this guy? But he played the X, and he was kind of
Yeah.
whatever.
He was
You also
creepy
had
himself.
yeah, yeah. You also had Richard Hurd. He's been in a
Hmm.
whole bunch of things. Killian would appreciate this because he was also in V, the miniseries, and V, the Final
Yeah.
Battle,
Right.
and that's a classic that
Yeah, it
me and
is.
Killian used to watch when we were kids. But anyways, the basic story, and jump in whenever you want. But the basic story is Julie is a columnist, and she's also going to therapy with a group of other adults who are, just trying to figure themselves out. And Klaus Kinski is the therapist. And so in the beginning of the movie, you meet some of Julie's friends, and they're all kind of, just side characters, really. And
Yeah. People
basically
to
the
kill.
ones who are getting, exactly,
Yeah.
they were the ones that basically getting killed. Um, but like you were mentioning, Donna Wilkes has this role where she's, the daughter, and it's just this weird relationship that she has with Klaus Kinski, who plays the therapist Peter,
Hmm.
and yeah, it's just the movie has a lot of weirdness to it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I
It,
suppose I
yeah.
suppose I suppose that's some of the allure of it, as far as being a slasher, or like you said, kind of like an American giallo.
Hmm.
So I guess I get it. This would definitely be a movie that I probably want to watch again, just to kind of absorb it some more. Um,
Yeah.
but it did have a couple good kills. It did have a couple good kills. Um,
Yeah.
what did you think of? As we go through the story, it's basically trying to be a mystery, a who done it. Who is the killer,
Hmm.
and of course, the movie positions a lot of people
Yeah, it
as
does.
the possibility. So, what were
Hmm.
you thinking of as far as that part of the movie?
Well, it's funny because I don't know about you, but whenever there's a killer, there's always things that, I don't know, stick out, whether it's their
Mm-hmm.
physique or something, you know what I mean? The shape of
Mm-hmm.
their nose, so like the side profile. So there was like a scene in the beginning when people were getting
Mm-hmm.
killed, and then it's
Mm-hmm.
like it kind of you kind of get an idea of who it could be. So, I mean,
Mm-hmm.
it's interesting how they try to make you think that, oh, you got all these killers, which really there isn't, you know what I mean? So,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
Yeah.
It's just I don't know what I'm trying to where I'm trying to go with this. Honestly, it's just it was
No, I know what you
interesting
mean.
how they they kind of gave it away but didn't. I guess is what I'm trying to say. So yeah,
Yeah, no, I get what you mean. I get what you mean. It's interesting how movies will do that, you know? It
yeah.
really, really is. And we got Flamethrower in the chat saying it was cool seeing Dr. Neil Gordon before he treated the Elm Street kids, right? Yeah,
Right.
absolutely. That's what I was saying, man. I kept saying, I know who that is, man. I do. Agoraphobe saying the same thing.
Mm.
Agoraphobe saying Ghost Story too. No, I haven't seen Ghost Story. Um, Slasher Fred said, "That's right. Christopher Lloyd was also in One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. That's right. So that's probably one of the earliest
Oh
movies that
yeah,
I've
the
ever seen him
earliest.
in."
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
I forgot
Yep.
about that.
Yep.
Honestly. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Good point. Good point. But yeah, you've got the movie, showing, all these people that are in the mix, a lot of them being the victims because they're friends of Julie. So obviously it's someone who has a connection to Julie. And if anyone's watching this in the chat or on the replay, we're going to kind of get into spoiler territory here. So just to forewarn you. But, you see all these people that are connected to her. So you're thinking to yourself, obviously Klaus Kinski is positioned very well as the
Mm.
villain because I mean just because of his reputation and also the way he played his role. He was very like,
He's
you
odd
know,
anyway. Yeah.
he's just an odd dude. He has an odd charisma. It's a weird thing because
Mm.
he's odd, but yet he's very charismatic. You know what I'm saying? So
Right.
he kind of pulls
Hmm.
you in anyways. But here he is taking advantage of his female patients. When they're kind of vulnerable. Sexually, anyways, and so he's got all these things going on, the affairs that he's got going on, because his wife had passed away or whatever. So he's cool in that sense. But then you've got his daughter, played by Donna, who is jealous of that, and again has
Yep.
this really weird relationship with her dad. The whole thing is really, really weird. But you see a scene where Klaus Kinski and Julie are talking outside, and obviously they have a relationship, and and Donna has a gun at the window, and basically you're thinking to yourself, is she gonna shoot at Julie, or what's going on
Yeah.
here?
She was
You know,
crazy. That girl. Yeah.
yeah, and you also have Christopher Lloyd, who, he's the maintenance guy, and he's a lonely guy. He's a lonely guy who's going to
Mm.
therapy, so he's already set up to be, the villain possibly because he's lonely. He's a maintenance guy. He's a little
Hmm.
off himself, and again, you just don't know. This movie had a lot of scenes where Julie would be doing certain things, walking in places or in hallways or going on the elevator, and sometimes some of these characters would be with her alone, and it'd be that moment of tension, kind of like, hey, are you going to kill me? Are you the killer? Because again, this killer is sending in notes to her because she's a columnist, and so she
Hmm.
has no idea who the killer is, and the killer keeps saying, uh, stop me, don't make me do it again, Julie, and all these different types of things. So again, it's got some good setup.
Yeah.
It's got some good setup. I don't think it stuck the landing as much as I wish it would have. You know what I'm saying? But it does
Hmm.
have pretty good setup, and you know me, Coriander. I love mysteries, and especially
Yeah.
if they're done well. This one
Hmm.
isn't, like I said, it had missteps, but
Yeah.
I
It
do
wasn't
appreciate
bad.
it trying to do some different things. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Right.
Um, And of course the other part of it too that I didn't get too deep into is then you have the police, and they're kind of just, as usual in a lot of these movies, the police are always 8 steps behind. So that was
Right.
kind of like, they don't know what to do, and they don't take this as seriously as they should, and so
Mm.
forth. So that was kind of whatever. But again, this movie's not too bad, although I mean it does not have a good Rotten Tomato score. It's only 18%. So
Wow.
that's definitely one of the lower ones that
Right?
we've done, for
Yeah, it
this
is.
movie. Yeah,
Wow.
yeah, absolutely. But again, it had some good gore here and there. Not enough of it though, like you said, and not a lot of it. And,
Yeah.
and the killer is killing with scissors. So that was kind of nice to see something different, I guess, a little bit.
Yeah.
But you would have thought it would have been more gore with it, So that
Yeah.
was kind of a bummer. Yeah, it was kind of a
Maybe.
bummer.
Yeah. A
Um,
little. Yeah.
real quick, yeah. Gorephobe says some well-known actors. You would have thought the movie would be a little better, though. Yeah, that's exactly what
True.
I'm thinking too.
Yeah.
Like I said, it just had some missteps, and
Yeah. Maybe
it's
with
too
better
bad.
direction, it maybe would have flowed a little bit better and maybe would have worked better. But yeah,
Yeah,
for what it
absolutely.
was,
Yeah.
it wasn't bad. I'm glad I saw it. So
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm glad I saw it too. I mean, originally it was going to be called, or I think maybe out of the outside of the United States, it was called Murder by Mail, and so yeah,
mm,
I'm kind of glad they changed that, or I should say, has it known as Schizoid here, because that just to me,
yeah,
sometimes just the title can pull you in or push you out,
not
So
exactly right.
yeah, yeah, absolutely. Gorophobe says, "Seen much worse." Yes, yes,
Yes, very
us
true.
as well. So like I said, this wasn't too shabby. But let's kind of get to the finale a little bit. And again, we're gonna get into spoiler territory. So obviously, for anyone watching the replay, um, if you don't want to have it spoiled, please pause the video or cover your ears. But once we get to near the end, um, Donna is again, she's acting really weird. They have that
Hmm.
scene. I gotta admit, that scene at the dinner table, that was a
Yeah,
pretty
that
intense
was
intense scene
intense.
because
Yeah.
yeah, because Klaus Kinski is obviously having Julie over for dinner, and
Hmm.
um,
Introducing the possible lady to the daughter. Yeah.
right. And Donna Wilkes, who plays the daughter, Allison, again, she was dressed in her mother's clothes, in one of her mother's dresses. And she comes down, and, obviously she's not too happy with Julie, and they have their little tension moments, but then she just freaks out. And I think, she has one of her
Yeah.
better scenes in the movie where, she talks about how, you know, you don't want me to remember my mother anymore, and this and that. And, Klaus Kinski does his thing where, please, daughter, talk to me, and all that stuff. So it was an intense scene, and it really ratcheted up the tension and also the suspicion of Allison being the killer, and
Hmm.
so that was a pretty good scene. But then, obviously, getting into the finale, she has those scenes where she has the gun and she sneaks off and she gives Julie a call
Yep.
while they're waiting to hear from the killer. And I thought that this was actually probably one of the best elements of the movie. It's funny because a couple weeks ago we had talked about He Knows You're Alone, and we talked about how a lot of that movie, it had a great beginning, pretty good middle, but it had
Yep.
missteps for the ending. Well,
Oh yeah,
this
it did.
movie, I think had a pretty good ending, and it was kind of a pretty good setup because
Yeah.
Julie gets a call from Allison, and Allison is basically like, "Can you come see me?" and this and that, and Julie's putting two and two together, and it's like, "Oh my God, were you the one sending the letters? Are you the killer?" and all that type of stuff. And of course, Klaus Kinski, he finds out where they're at, and he goes there, and next thing you know, you've got Allison, you've got Julie. Allison has a gun on Julie. You have
Yep.
Klaus Kinski coming to the building. He's driving to meet them to
Mhm.
hopefully stop Allison. But you also have
You have
Doug,
Doug.
the
Yeah,
ex-husband.
you do. Yep.
Doug's there too, and he's basically like, "Oh my God," talking to Allison,
Mhm.
"You're the killer, but did you really do it? Did you do it?" And of course, when Klaus Kinski gets there, we don't know what's going on. There's shots, gunfire shots at him, and this and that, and he's pleading to Allison, don't do it," and all that type of stuff. And we find out that it wasn't Allison.
Yeah.
She wasn't the killer. It was
Mhm.
actually Doug. It
Doug,
was Dr.
right?
Neil.
And you could
Dr. Neil
tell.
himself from
Yes, in the beginning, you could
yeah.
tell with that profile. You could tell he was the killer.
Yeah. Yeah. You definitely yeah. You could tell it was leaning towards him, more than anyone else,
Mhm.
cuz again, Klaus Kinski was too easy to
Yep.
be the killer. It
Yeah.
was
The
almost like they were
scorned
really trying to.
ex. Yeah, man.
Yes, the scorned ex. In the chat, Gorphobe says, when you gonna do Just Before Dawn? You know, I don't know. We'll have to see what our schedule has, but we've got it's funny, and I guess we can talk about this for a minute too, Coriander, because with Slasher Movie Club, we also like to talk about channel stuff too, but we've
Right?
got we've got so much stuff on the list.
We
It's not even
do.
funny, but it's a good thing. you know
Yes.
it's a good thing because it gives us a lot of material and a lot of things to look forward to, and hopefully for our viewers to look forward to, because we're trying with the channel, we're trying to do multiple things with our episodes, because on Mondays we're doing only slashers. On Fridays, for Monster Fridays, we're doing movies that have monsters in them, or monster themed stuff, or either sci-fi, leaning a little bit towards monster sci-fi type of stuff. So that's for Fridays. And on Wednesdays, it's kind of multiple different things. Usually we're trying to attack different franchises or special episodes, like when we did our Stephen King Top 10 episode, which, by the way, if you have not seen that, check that out. That was fun. Um,
Yeah.
and Sundays, yeah, and Sundays kind of the same thing. Specialty episodes, top tens, and rankings, and also other movies that we haven't had a chance to do. We do those on Sunday, so it's fun, man. But we got a really good list, man. We really do. Gorphobe saying it's got an awesome final
Mm,
girl for sure. Yeah, well,
nice.
hey, we might have to put that up
I've
to the
never
top of the
seen
list,
it,
man.
so yeah, I'm not.
Yeah, I haven't
I don't
either.
even know. Yeah.
I haven't either, and I love that. When I can check out something that I haven't seen. Gorphobe
Mm,
saying I'm around as often as I can. Yeah, man, and we really
yeah. We
appreciate it.
appreciate it. Yeah.
Yeah, we really do. It's great. But what's cool is when you have people that are returning
Oh, nice.
viewers, and they also like to they like to jump into the conversations. It's really cool because you form bonds and things like that. So.
Right?
Gorphobe saying a zombie show. Oh, okay, cool. Yeah. And saying I got a lot of plans too. Yeah, man.
Nice.
That's the fun thing about movies and talking about movies and things related, is that there's so many angles that you can do it
Yeah.
from.
So much to talk
And
about.
that's what makes it.
You can never
Yeah,
not have anything to talk about. That's for sure.
absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. We got Patrick. Patrick's in the chat saying "You for rock." Thanks, man. Good old Patrick. But
Right?
yeah, I mean, there's so many things that you can talk about that it does make it fun. It really does. It keeps it fresh. But yeah, with this movie, like I said at the end, and again, it's spoilers, but you find out that it's the ex, and you had a little struggle at the end, and you saw that
Yeah.
Allison and Julie were tied up because
Yeah, they were.
obviously he got the gun away from Allison. So that was kind of interesting. But at the end, Allison had the scissors, and it was kind of interesting because her father was being attacked by Doug, the ex, and you know, Allison obviously used the scissors, and of course you got Julie saying, "No, don't do it, don't do it." You know, so
Yep.
it was pretty good. It was pretty good.
Yeah.
Like I said, it had a few missteps. It would have been nice if it had more gore because
Yes.
you had a killer with scissors. So right there, you've got a lot of opportunity,
Right.
and you didn't have a lot of gore. So I think that would have been nice. And also, if the kills might have been a little bit more creative too, because you
Yeah.
know, a couple of the kills were basically him chasing the victim, which of course we've seen 1,000 times, but it was done
Yeah.
in a way that was very kind of
There
just
was
blah,
some good,
you know.
not bad stalking scenes. Yeah.
Yes, yes. No, I agree with that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Slasher Fred saying the plot twist of the ex being the killer is like a pre Sea of Love. Yeah,
Right.
absolutely, man. Absolutely. Agoraphobe saying gore is cool, right?
Yeah.
Right.
I agree.
But yeah, well, I mean, it's a slasher film, so
Right.
you got to have that in there. And the funny thing is that you've got this movie that definitely was trying to piggyback off of Halloween. You saw some things that were very Halloween esque, but it was nowhere near as effective. Which that's too bad because it's like you definitely could have had some good stuff because the movie. I will say this: the movie started off with a kill pretty quick, you
Yeah, it
know.
did.
And
Yeah.
so when I saw that, I was hopeful because I was like, okay, wow, they're starting off kind of quick.
Hmm.
But it just didn't, yeah, it didn't
Kind of
maintain it. So
fizzled.
this was definitely,
Yeah.
yeah, so obviously last week we reached the mountaintop with Terror Train. That was just like, wow,
We're gonna climb
what a
back up
friggin'
there.
movie.
We're gonna get back
Well,
up there.
I'm sure we will, but I'm just saying, man.
Yeah.
Last week when we saw Terror Train, and again, I hadn't seen that one for so long. I was just like, wow, man, this movie is amazing. I don't know why more people aren't talking about it. I can't wait. I mean, I think we're gonna do something more specific with Terror Train as well, because it was just fantastic. Everything about it, the setting, the characters, the kills, the way that things were happening, everything was like check, 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 check. And obviously, we come to this movie, which had a few checks, but also had some blank boxes, man. So that was kind of
Mm.
like, all right, it's too bad. Um, in the chat, Gorephobe says, "Isn't it funny how Halloween didn't need the gore to be iconic?" Well, absolutely. Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, and we are just waiting with bated breath before we go into the Halloween franchise. We just kind of wrapped up the Nightmare franchise, and we're going to go into Halloween soon. And you're right; it didn't need a lot of gore, but you had a lot of great things. You had, great characterization, fantastic cinematography. That was just Dean Cundey was amazing as far as cinematography, and obviously John Carpenter. The direction was just fantastic. Deborah Hill with the script to characterize the ladies in Halloween. You just had all of these elements coming together that just made it so iconic. But yeah, you're right. You're right. Patrick says Greg Wesson was did De Palma's body double. Oh, wow, and I haven't seen that in so long. Good one, Patrick. Yeah, good one. Gorophobe says Terror Train rocks. Yeah, it does, man. Yep,
Yeah.
yep. And Patrick with the fun fact again. Donna Wilkes was Jackie in Jaws 2. Yes, she was. Yes, she was, man. And I can't wait till we get into Jaws 2. That'll be a fun conversation as well. Yeah. Slasher Fred says, "I hope you do your Halloween retrospective soon." Yeah, it's definitely in the works. I can't say exactly when we're going to do it because we have a couple other things we have to catch up on. So much to do, so little time. But it's definitely going to be, soon, and it will be in our Wednesday night slot. So it will be pretty soon. We can't wait either because we've never talked about the Halloween movies individually. So it'll be a fun fresh thing for us as well. So, and that'll kind of finish our trinity of horror with Jason, Freddy, and Michael Myers. Yeah. Gorephobe saying, can't wait for the Halloween show. Me too, man. Me too.
Yeah.
Like I said, we're hyped. We're hyped up, man. And it's going to
Right.
be a roller coaster. It's going to be a roller coaster because obviously, if you know the Halloween franchise, you know there's some ups and downs. So that'll be fun. We got Unwrap the Movies in the chat. What's going on, man?
Nice.
Saying what's up?
Hey.
What's going on, man? Nice to see you. Patrick talking about Craig in Nightmare on Elm Street 3. Yeah, man, we were talking about that because
we were.
When I first saw him, I just kept saying, dude, I know this guy, you know, and I just couldn't put my finger on it.
Yeah, dude.
I was like, wait a minute.
Right?
He was in Dreams. He was in Dream Warriors, you know? So, but yeah, you know, so anyways, this movie was, you know, I think kind of lower to middle of the road. Obviously, Coriander, everyone knows that you're a huge Klaus Kinski fan with his movies, but you know, I guess this one didn't match the levels that you were used to. And
well, like I said,
I
it was interesting seeing him in the role that he was in because it was something that I'd never seen him play. So that was interesting.
Right. Yeah. Well, hey, you know, I think that's the fun of doing this slasher movie club is that we're just going through these movies, man, one by one, with no type of, you know, holding back, you know, whether it's great, good, or bad, and using the Teenage Slasher Handbook as our loose guide. And I think it's fun because we don't know what we're going to be seeing, you know, week to week. So it's actually really, really fun. Real quick in the chat, Agoraphobe was talking about how he was also in Ghost Story as well. Patrick saying Blowout is an absolute classic. Yeah, man, John Travolta. Yeah, absolutely. Agoraphobe saying that De Palma's legendary. He is.
Yeah.
He truly is. No doubt.
Right.
Agoraphobe saying I got all those De Palmas on Blu-ray. Nice. That is awesome, man. Yeah. Very cool. Well, real quick, as we start to come to a close, let's let you guys know what we're going to be doing for next week's Slasher Movie Club. So as usual, you know, please feel free to, you know, watch or rewatch these movies so that you can join in the discussion with us while we talk about them. And yeah, here we go. This is what we're going to be doing next Monday. Check it out. All right, we have reached that point, Coriander.
Yeah.
We have reached that point. We're going into the big boys now. So yeah,
I enjoyed this one coming up. Yeah.
Yeah. So next week will be My Bloody Valentine, which I think at this point, well, you know, Prom Night was pretty big, but this might be one of the more famous movies that we're going to tackle for Slasher Movie Club. So this one definitely has a big following. Let's see what else we got going on in the chat here. Gorphobe saying, great villain in Blowout. Yes, absolutely, man. That was a good movie. At some point, we might even do that one. We got a whole bunch that we want to do. But yeah, guys, for next week, we've got My Bloody Valentine, so that'll be a fun one. Everybody, well, not everybody, but so many people know about it. And obviously a lot of the younger generation have seen the remake, but this is the original. So we're doing the original. And I believe it's available on Tubi and Shudder and streaming platforms like that.
Yep.
Yeah. So definitely, if you don't have it physically, check it out on streaming, you know, especially if you haven't seen it in a while, which I'm sure there are a lot of people that haven't. But definitely check it out. And then that way, next week at 8 o'clock p.m. for Slasher Movie Club, you can join in the discussion with us on it. So that should be pretty interesting. Gorephobe saying, yes, my Bloody Valentine. All right.
Yeah.
Patrick saying, definitely a top 20 slasher. Yeah. Yeah, I can agree with that. Yeah. Saying, yeah, that's a great scream.
Yeah.
Patrick. So yeah, it should be that should be pretty fun. So anyways, guys, please leave us a like on the video. That'll help it out a lot. And if you have social medias or anything, please feel free to share this with people that would enjoy it. Yeah, we'll be catching you guys next time. So if you're listening to this, if you're watching this, you are the Night Watch. Have a good night, guys. Peace out.
Up to